Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. Electricity consumers have been advised to reject estimated bills from distribution companies and demand for prepaid meters. Well, this advice was given by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. The acting chairman of the commission, Mr. Anthony Aka, said this in Abuja when the House Committee on Power paid a working visit to the NERC.
An oversight visit, a statutory function of the legislature. Here, the House Committee on Power, interacting with officials of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. The acting chairman of the commission, Mr. Anthony Aka, explains to the lawmakers some efforts made by the commission to regulate the sector. The lawmakers draw the attention of the commission on the need to regulate electricity billing system within the confines of existing laws.
We would be on the side of the people in such a way that we will be able to explain to our people, the Nigerian people, that power is not a social service, of course, it is at a cost. But this cost must be a cost that is accommodated within the laws of the land.
On his part, the acting chairman of the commission urges electricity consumers to reject estimated bills from distribution companies.
Any unmetered customer or customer that has no meter has the right to reject his estimated bill if in his own view he feels that that bill does not reflect the quantity of power that was sent to him.
The lawmakers also visited the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, NERC, to assess how it is contributing to the government's effort to stabilize electricity supply in Nigeria. After listing several interventions of the company to help stabilize electricity supply, the managing director of NERC states that the federal government's target of 20,000 megawatts of electricity by the year 2020 is not feasible.
The truth is that we don't have a grid, and you've heard that before, that can take the capacity. But more importantly, you need to be able to plan for that level of investment for it to come in. So at this point, the answer is there will not be any 20,000 megawatts in 2020. There is nothing we can do today to make it happen.
Nigeria's dependence on gas and hydro to generate power has been grossly inadequate as power continued to fluctuate between 2,000 and 5,000 megawatts in the last 1 year.
Well, meanwhile, the federal government's target of 20,000 megawatts of electricity by the year 2020 is not feasible. Well, this is according to Mrs. Marilyn Amobi, the managing director of the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company. She is of the view that the realities on ground suggest Nigerians may have to wait a little longer because the nation lacks the capacity to realize this target. Well, that's it from Abuja. It's over to you, Amarachi.
Thanks a lot, Gloria. Well, staying in the power sector, the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors has called on the federal government to fulfill the commitments it made 3 years ago when some aspects of the power sector was privatized. The executive director for research and advocacy of the association, Mr. Sunday Oduto, also denies claims that investors took over the companies without having set objectives.
It's exactly 3 years today that private investors took over the distribution of electricity in Nigeria. Members of the Association of Nigeria Electricity Distributors have gathered here for an assessment of the journey so far. And their verdict is not encouraging. They say they have operated at a loss for the past 3 years. And if the government does not intervene, the loss will stand at 809 billion naira by December 2016.
In a situation where you have a shortfall of 809 billion naira within the last 3 years, how can you run that business without remaining in deficit? The federal government, at the point of privatization in 2013, gave starting commitment, and those things are largely not being fulfilled. What we believe we need to do is to look at the whole thing, and they need to come in and do something to bridge the funding gap, the shortfall in the sector.
Despite all the challenges in the sector, the DISCOs have made significant improvements, according to the Executive Director of Research and Advocacy, Arned.
We have managed to reduce aggregate technical, commercial, and collection losses. We have reduced that. We have been able to improve the billing system. We have improved our ICT and the GIS infrastructure. We have done a lot of improvements in that area. And of course, we have been able to recruit thousands of skilled workers who are much more better than what we had in the system before. To say that those who invested in this business do not know what they are doing, I think that is not fair. They know what they are doing. What I expect Alhaji Dangote to understand is the fact that there are huge challenges in the sector which are very unique. And those are the issues that we need to deal with. And efforts are being made to deal with that.
While the challenges in the power sector persist, Arnold is of the view that a reversal of the privatization is totally uncalled for. However, to reverse the negative trend in the sector, Arnold insists the federal government must honor its own part of the contract.
The Nigerian Army says troops of the 8th Task Force Division have rescued 19 women and 19 children held hostage by Boko Haram terrorists in Dumba village, Borno State. The Army in a statement explains that the rescue is the outcome of an operation to clear Boko Haram terrorists hiding in remote areas of northern Borno State on the Nigeria-Niger borders. It adds that the operation also extended to Momo and Tunshe villages and around Mate general area of Borno State. 6 suspected Boko Haram insurgents were said to have been killed in the operation, while others fled with gunshot wounds, leaving behind 22 motorcycles and other items. Meanwhile, the Ekiti State government has suspended the activities of its grazing enforcement marshals for 5 days. This was announced by Governor Ayodele Fayose, who met with representatives of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association in the state capital. The governor commended the leaders of the association for exploring the option of dialogue rather than making uninformed comments.
There's total misinformation about killing of cows, shooting of cows. It's pure political and misinformation. So when we leave here, I'm going to go show them their cows, where they are kept. And because of their accord and the understanding, after the Thursday meeting, I will release the cows to them for them to know that we are not extremists. All we want is people obeying our laws and collaborating together in the world.
It's time now for business news. Here's Anne Wawodo.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's Purchasing Manufacturing Index turned positive at 52.9 reading in October from a negative reading of 47.9 in September. The uptick in the manufacturing level, according to FBN Quest, was driven by an improvement in all 5 sub-indices in October. FBN Quest is projecting a further contraction of minus 1.7% in the third quarter of 2016, but it says the figure could be better if the oil economy surprises on the upside. The analysts expect a flat GDP for the fourth quarter of 2016. Pipeline attacks in the Niger Delta in 2015 have led to a revenue shortfall of about $750 million in Nigeria's largest indigenous oil and gas firm, Owando. According to reports, the attacks also impacted the company's joint venture operations, including Energia Limited on the Ebendo field, and that field feeds through the Focado's export terminal, while its largest joint venture, the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company near the Brass Terminal, has been affected all year with disruptions. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari met with Niger Delta representatives today as part of efforts towards finding lasting solutions to the crisis rocking the region. The Cross River State government is proposing a 301 billion naira appropriation bill for the 2017 fiscal year. Presenting the budget proposal to the State House of Assembly, Governor Ben Ayade explained that 81.14 billion naira has been allocated for recurrent expenditure and 220.06 billion for capital expenditure. Governor Ayade says the state intends to fund that budget from internally generated revenue, statutory allocation, capital receipts, and projected investor revenue. Mid-cap stocks lifted the local equities market at the close of trading today, with gains recorded from the banking, consumer goods, and the insurance sector. But for more on today's trading figures, let's join BC Adebayo.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. November kicked off positive on the stock market as the benchmark index recovered by 12 basis points, while total market volume added around 20 billion naira to close at 9.36 trillion naira. Today's activity was due to price performance from 17 gainers comprising mostly mid-caps and led in percentage terms by Eternal Oil, Okomo Oil and Red Star Express. On the other hand, USC Property Development Company, Union Bank and Owando emerged as top price losers from a list of 16 decliners. Overall transaction turnover was lower against Monday's session as investors traded a total of 187.6 million shares worth 1.31 billion naira in 3,065 deals. The most actively traded equities today were Dunlop, Sterling Bank and Transcorp. And that ends the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
Thank you, BC. Well, it's a mostly positive close for African and Asian markets today, but a negative finish for European and the U.S. markets as investors focus on more economic data, the U.S. election, and tomorrow's rate decision meeting by the Federal Reserve. Thank you so much for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Back to you, Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
And next on the news at 10, International Table Tennis Federation shortlists Nigeria's Aruna Quadri, 3 others for the 2016 Male Star Player of the Year award. We'll have more sports news. Join us again.